Hello students, welcome to a lesson through the virtual training center of the Brihan Mumbai Mahanagar Palika. My name is Shraddha teacher, and in this lockdown period, since we are not able to go to school, children, we will be doing many lessons here online through the virtual class. So come on, let's proceed to our lesson for today. So children, I'm back with a lesson in standard 9th, subject English. And when we were doing the lesson last time on figures of speech, I told you that this is the first video and I will be coming out very soon with another video on figure of speech in which we will be covering the parts that we did not do in the last video. So when we talked about figures of speech in the first part of this lesson, we talked about the meaning of figures of speech. We saw that figures of speech are used by the poets as a technique in order to emphasize certain ideas in the poem, in order to awaken the interest of the reader in the poem. Okay, and also we saw that figures of speech are words which are actually different in the poem when you compare it with the literal meaning in the dictionary. And we also looked at these 4 types of figures of speech in detail last time. We talked about what a simile is, we talked about what metaphor is, we talked about personification and apostrophe. Today, let us talk about the remaining 4 parts of figures of speech that we have. That is, we will look at hyperbole first, then we will look at some more types of figures of speech, okay, like climax, like irony, etc. So the first figure of speech that we will be doing today is hyperbole. Look at the spelling. We could very easily call it hyperbole, Hyperbole. But remember, the pronunciation is hyperbole. Okay, see the pronunciation here? The word is said very differently from the way it is written. So what is the pronunciation of this word? It is hyperbole. So remember, never make a mistake in saying this word and calling it hyperbole, like many people do. Now we know how to say this. Now let us try and understand what the meaning of hyperbole is. So what is a hyperbole? It is used to create emphasis. It is used to evoke strong feelings or to create a strong impression. And it is not meant to be taken literally. That means hyperbole, when we use, we are saying something which may never happen. Okay, we are overhyping something which will never happen. We are saying that, and we are trying to create a situation which is larger than life. For example, when you see Hindi movies, you see that one hero, without even a gun in his hand, is fighting with 50 people who have guns and weapons, and he's also defeating those 50 people. That is an example of a hyperbole. Okay, so here in hyperbole, when a poet uses hyperbole, means he is doing something over the top. In Hindi we say किसी चीज को बढ़ा चढ़ा के बोलना is called as hyperbole. So let us look at examples to make the idea clear to you. So see, these are all examples of hyperbole. Her smile was a mile wide. So some people, they have wide smiles. They open their mouth a lot when they smile. But does it mean that it is a mile wide? A mile means more than 2 kilometers. So how can a smile be that wide? Almost 2 kilometers. It cannot happen. Okay? So this is an example of a hyperbole. I told you na, किसी चीज को बढ़ा चढ़ा के बोलना is an example of a hyperbole. So her smile was a mile wide is an example of a hyperbole. This mall is big enough to have its own zip code. So you have zip codes, means you have postal codes, pin code, isn't it? For example, the pin code for the place where I stay is 4215 something. So that is a pin code. Alright, so they are saying that this mall or this shopping center is so big that it is almost like a small town which can have its own pin code or zip code. So this is बढ़ा चढ़ा के बोलना. So it is an example of a hyperbole. Next one, I have told you a million times to stop saying that. A million times here means many times or a number of times. It does not exactly mean a million times. You never tell someone a million times something. Okay, so it is hyperbole. And look at the last one. Her brain is the size of a pea. That means you're comparing someone's brain to the size of a pea. Now you have your brain inside your skull. All of us, we have our brain inside our skull, and more or less most of the sizes of our brains are the same. Correct? But here it means that she doesn't use her brain or she is not intelligent enough. The meaning of the sentence is this. It does not mean that her brain is the size of a pea. See, this is a pea. Can it happen? Can someone's brain be the size of a pea? It cannot. So that is why these examples are all examples of hyperbole. So now you know what is a hyperbole. It means when you एक चीज को when you बहुत बढ़ा चढ़ा के you say, when you give it more importance than it deserves, or you try to say it in such a way that सामने वाला gets shocked. So that is called as hyperbole. Okay, I've used a little bit of Hindi in order to make this idea clear to you. Let us talk about the next figure of speech, that is allusion. Okay, see the spelling, it is not illusion, it is ALLUSION, allusion. Alright, so what is allusion? Allusion means a brief reference in one work of literature to a person, place or event in another work of literature, or in history, art or music. Clear? Or let me make it clearer to you. Suppose I am writing a book, okay, or I am writing a poem. In my book or in my poem, if I am trying to write about something which is there in some other book, for example, if I am writing about something which is there in one of the plays of Shakespeare, then that is an example of allusion. So a brief reference in one work of literature. One work of literature means a book which I am writing, to a person, place or event in another book of literature. Okay, so see, I am talking about something or someone or some event in one of Shakespeare's stories or books. Then that is called as allusion. You can also talk about some character in history. For example, if I'm writing a poem, if I talk about Shivaji Maharaj, Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, then that also can become an example of an allusion, because I'm referring to a great person in Indian history. Okay, so allusion means when you're talking about someone else in your work. So who will talk? The poet will talk in the poem which we are studying. Okay, so when you read a poem and you see that in that particular poem there is a reference to someone in some other book, other poem, or someone in history, then that is an example of allusion. See, he studies all the time and is a regular Einstein. Okay, now see, Einstein is a historical figure. That is, he was a very big, great scientist, isn't it? So when you are writing something and we are giving reference to Einstein, then that is an example of allusion. Look at this now. Chocolate is my Achilles' heel. Now we have all learnt about the lesson Joan of Arc. Okay, we have talked about how in that particular story there was a horse which they made and they kept it, and finally that horse became the Achilles' heel of the Greeks. That is, that horse became the weak point, and because of that weak point they had to suffer defeat. So here chocolate is supposed to be compared to the Achilles' heel. So here Achilles' heel means what? You can say weakness. That is, whenever I see chocolate, I'm not able to stop myself. I always gulp it up. I always eat it, in spite of knowing that it might not be good for my teeth. Alright, so this is an example of allusion. When you have compared chocolate to Achilles' heel, and when you have talked about Einstein and you have compared Einstein to some person who's studying all the time. So these are all examples of allusion. Let us look at some more examples. See, Sally had a smile that rivaled that of Mona Lisa. So see, this is the very, very famous painting Mona Lisa by Leonardo da Vinci. And this smile of Mona Lisa is supposed to be the most alluring smile seen by human beings. Okay? So Sally had a smile. Sally is a girl. They're saying Sally had a smile that rivaled. That rivaled means that can give competition to Mona Lisa's smile. So this is an example of allusion, because Mona Lisa is a very famous painting. Okay, so it is a very historical thing that we are talking about. So since everyone is familiar with the painting, they can imagine what Sally's smile looks like. So immediately you can imagine the face of a girl with a very, very beautiful smile. Alright, so this is an example of allusion. See, this is one more example of allusion. I was surprised his nose was not growing like Pinocchio's. So now Pinocchio is a cartoon character. He was a toy which was made up of wood, and there was a special quality about Pinocchio. Whenever he used to say lies, whenever he used to tell lies, his nose used to start growing. So what are you saying? You can hear someone telling a lot of lies and you're saying that I was surprised his nose was not growing like Pinocchio's. So he's saying so many lies, his nose should have grown like that of Pinocchio's. Okay? Next example. The place is like the Garden of Eden. Now Garden of Eden now is a mythical place, and it is compared to heaven. So when you're talking about heaven, we have never gone to heaven. None of us have been to heaven because we are all alive. But from the description that people give, we have an idea that heaven might be a place which is really very beautiful. So see this picture? It is really beautiful, isn't it? So when a place is extremely beautiful, you say this place is like the Garden of Eden. Alright? So these are all here examples which will tell you what the meaning of allusion is. Okay, these are all examples of allusion. Alright, come on, let's move on and go to the next figure of speech, that is irony. So this is the third figure of speech that we are doing today, irony. So it is a figure of speech which a person is saying the opposite of what it means. Alright? For example, this happens very well at home. When you hold something in your hand and you ask your mother, where should I keep this? Sometimes she tells you, keep it on my head. Alright? This is a very common thing which happens. Will you really go and keep it on her head? No, you'll get banged by her. She'll punish you for it. Why she said that? She's just saying it ironically. Okay, she doesn't want you to keep it on her head. So the figure of speech which a person is saying the opposite of what it means. She wants you to keep it in its proper place and not on her head. Alright, so see, the bad news is that everybody got perfect in yesterday's test. So is it bad news, children? The teacher is coming and announcing that everybody got perfect marks in yesterday's test. So that is good news. But see how the teacher is saying? The bad news is that everybody got perfect in yesterday's test. So it is an example of irony, because the teacher is saying the exact opposite of what she wants to say. It is so nice of you to tell my secrets. So if you tell your secret to someone, what do you expect? You expect that that person keeps the secret a secret, isn't it? That person doesn't tell it to anyone. But you realize that that person has gone and told the whole town about your secrets. So instead of saying, I'm so angry that you told my secrets, what are you saying? It's so nice of you to tell my secrets. Okay? It's an example of irony, because you're saying exactly the opposite of what you want to say. Next, it is good of you for scolding me in front of your friends. So if someone scolds you, in front of others, what do you feel? You feel very bad, isn't it? You feel insulted. So what will you say? You'll say it was not good, scolding me in front of your friends. But here you're saying it is good of you for scolding me in front of your friends. So it is an example of irony. Okay? See? Let us look at some more examples of irony here. Water, water everywhere, but not a drop to drink. So it means there is water all over the place. You are in the middle of an ocean and you are surrounded by water, but none of it is drinkable. So, water, water everywhere. There's water everywhere. It is ironical that you cannot drink even a drop of that water. This is also an example of irony. Okay, see one more example. The directions were clear as mud. So is mud clear, children? The mud is all fuzzy, isn't it? You cannot see anything through mud. So you're trying to say exactly the opposite of what you mean in this case. So it means that the directions were not at all clear. The directions were very, very unclear. Okay? Obviously, the directions were very clear, not clear at all. Let us look at some more examples of irony. The name of his biggest dog was Tiny. See, the dog was very big in size, but the name of the dog was Tiny. So when you hear the name Tiny, you think about such a dog. But when you see the dog, you realize, oh, this dog is very big. So why has he been named Tiny? So it is an example of an irony. Some more example. The Titanic was promoted as unsinkable, but it sank in 1912. See, exactly opposite happened. The Titanic, when it was launched, it was promoted as unsinkable, something which could never sink. It was a ship which was never supposed to sink. But sadly, it sank on its first voyage itself. See here, it sank, it broke up into two, and most of the people who were on that ship died that day. So this also is an example of irony. Okay? So I hope the idea of irony is clear to you. Let us now go to some more examples. A fireman afraid of fire. See, irony, na? What is a fireman supposed to do? He is supposed to put out the fire. But here we have a fireman who is afraid of fire. So it's an example of irony. A fat and unhealthy doctor. Whenever you go to a doctor, you expect to get well. You expect to become healthy. But when you go to a doctor and see a doctor who's really fat and who's unhealthy, look at his expression also. Will you ever want to go back there? Because you do not expect a doctor to be fat and unhealthy. Alright? So these are all various examples of irony, simple examples. Let us move on and let us go to the last figure of speech for today. That is climax. Climax means what? Climax means exactly when we talk about climax, we talk about movies, we say during the climax, the hero dies. That means we are talking about the end of the movie. Towards the end, we are saying. So for going towards the end, you started from the beginning, isn't it? So climax means there is an event. There are certain events which are arranged in a certain order. In mathematics, you learn ascending order and descending order. Ascending means low to high. You start from step number 1 and you ascend and you go higher. Okay, so climax is just that. When you progress from a lesser to a greater idea, or from something which is of low quality to higher quality, something which is small to something which is bigger. So ascending, when the ideas are arranged in the ascending order of importance, you say that that particular figure of speech is climax. Okay? See, each next word combination in a sentence, whether it is a clause, is logically more important or emotionally more stronger. So that is an example of climax. Alright, let us look at this example. No blade of grass. So the blade of grass looks like this. Very tiny, thin. No shrub. a shrub is a little bit bigger than the blade of grass. No tree, and the tree is even bigger than the shrub or the blade of grass. So you see how the ideas or the words or the phrases were arranged in a sequence in which something became more and more bigger. Okay, so you have big, bigger, biggest in size here. No blade of grass, which is very tiny, to shrub, which is a little bit bigger, to a tree that is biggest. So no blade of grass, no shrub, no tree that was not owned. Next, she felt better, immensely better. So there was someone who was sick. Then she felt a little better. And then she felt immensely better. I mean, she felt very good. So you can see here how the state or the quality of a person's health went on improving. She was sick and then she felt better and then she felt immensely better. So this was climax for you children. So which all figure of speech did we do today? We talked about climax, alright, in which we talked about how each word is a combination of the previous word. Then we talked about irony, in which we saw how irony means you mean the exact opposite of what you're saying, and we saw many examples also of irony. After that we saw what the meaning of hyperbole is, allusion is, and we saw how we talk about something which is taken from the books or from science or from nature. Alright, and I wanted to point out one more thing which I had forgotten last time. See, this example about Pinocchio's nose growing is an example of hyperbole also. Alright children, because this doesn't happen. When someone tells lies, his nose doesn't grow. Okay, so this example of I was surprised his nose was not growing like Pinocchio's could also be taken as an example of hyperbole. We have considered it an allusion because we are talking about Pinocchio, who is a figure from the storybooks. And then finally we also talked about what is hyperbole with a lot of examples. Alright, so that was the second part of our lesson based on figures of speech. So children, wasn't that a wonderful video? And did you enjoy watching it? So if you want to watch more such videos in future, then please like this video and also subscribe to our channel, the MCGM Portal for Education, and also hit the bell button so that you get notified whenever I upload a new video here. Thank you so much for now. Let's meet again soon.